Welcome. I am Terry Ann Porter, life coach TA, and it is time for Tea Time with Terry Ann. Today, I want to introduce you to a wonderful friend that I've met and I've come to really admire and respect this woman. This is Grace Strachan. Now, in some of our recent conversations, Grace has been telling me about motherisms. Her mother has some really neat phrases that she's been sharing. I want to introduce you to Grace and let you hear a little bit about her story, her mother, and motherisms. Grace, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me on Tea Time with Terry Ann.
Thank you, Terry Ann. Thank you so much for asking me. I really appreciate it. Probably the biggest thing for me right now is I want to get out to the public the fact that I want to write a book. And I've started it. I've started writing down some things, but it is on motherisms. Technically, my mother was probably the most profound woman I've ever met in my life. Very much ahead of her time. My mother was a woman that actually, if she was still alive, she'd be in her 90s. And she did something completely unheard of back then. She got a college degree before she got married. Yes, and that was so unheard of. And she got a college degree, she got married, she ended up with 4 children. And then unheard of back then also was my father left when I was 5 years old, and my mother raised 4 children completely on her own. Not completely, I take that back. She actually raised 4 children with my grandmother's help because we lived with my mother's mom. But still, she supported us completely on her own until I was 14. And then we were blessed because she met the man of her dreams, my bonus dad. And we ended up getting a bonus dad. And then I ended up getting 2 bonus brothers and a bonus sister. So we ended up, talk about unexpected but wonderful. But all the years that my mother was supporting us and raising us, she had so many wonderful motherisms that she taught us. And I actually got told about maybe 6 or 7 months ago, I always quote my mom and I quote my motherisms. And I got told that I really needed to share them. And so I thought, that's a great idea and a tribute to my mom. And I was going to call it momisms, but my Canadian comes out and that sounds a little bit not right because I say my mom, and if you're British, you say me mom, but motherisms make more sense in the United States. So motherisms it is. And, but I decided to go one step further because I had somebody say something to me that hit my heart. And that was, I mentioned I was going to write the book, and this person said to me, oh, well, I really don't have a relationship with my mom. I'm kind of alienated from her. We don't really communicate well. But when you said that made me think of the fact my mother gave me some wonderful things while we were growing up and motherisms that I actually lived by. Thank you. And my thought was, wow, that's what this book needs to be. Those motherisms need to be put out there because we're losing them. People are not quoting them anymore. But it also, if it could bring somebody closer to their mom again, or bring back a memory of their mom and have them live a happiness and their heart feel full, then I've done what I want to do. So that's why I decided to write the book.
That sounds so awesome and such a tribute.
Mm-hmm.
Now you come in, did this woman give you any of the motherisms that she remembered during your conversation?
No, she did not. And I didn't want to push it because I thought, okay, this has opened up her heart in a way that I think she now needs to evolve with. And I did say to her, oh, by the way, I would love to hear them. So you know what, when I get closer to the interviewing, Please keep me in mind because I'll probably be giving you a call, and start writing them down. And that's the way I left it with her.
Now, you just made the comment when you get closer to the interviewing. So you're going to be speaking with other people and get their motherisms?
Yes. And that's what I want to do. I really believe in my heart. I mean, I'm going to give you one of my motherisms, okay, that my mother taught me. And that is, it got me through when my husband passed away suddenly 4 years ago. And the motherism that she gave me was, if somebody you love, you care for, or somebody you know really well, maybe a relative, they say or do something that maybe isn't so nice, walk away. Because you do not know where their heart or where their mind is at that moment in time. If somebody you don't know very well, or maybe as an acquaintance, or somebody you just met, does something not so nice or is rude or inconsiderate, walk away. Because they're not worth your time anyway.
Oh, I love that. What a great reminder.
Mm-hmm. And learn to breathe.
Oh, now
and when
that's
you walk
a hard
away,
one.
learn to breathe. I have a tendency when I get upset is I don't breathe. I really don't. I stop. And my brother and both my brother and sister have said to me, Grace, breathe.
It just occurred to me, I do recall those moments when there is something very stressful or whatever. I could hear my mother say, breathe.
Mm-hmm.
She always likes to stop breathing during these times. Breathe.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by a motherism. We're losing that. Now, when my husband passed away 4 years ago, my family was all in Canada, right? And so I'm in the United States, they're in Canada, and I realized that my American family, they were here, they rallied around. I mean, I was still blessed. I was still blessed to have the people I did. My sister came down from Canada to help me out, but none of my other family or relatives in Canada came down. And at my first reaction was hurt. Second reaction was upset. And third reaction was resentment. And the thing that stopped me from all of those emotions was listening to my mother and that motherism of walk away. Because all of a sudden, as soon as I heard her voice in my head, my reaction was, these people lost their brother, their uncle, their brother-in-law, their cousin, their friend. It wasn't just my husband passing and I no longer had him, but they no longer had him either. And everybody reacts differently. So I was over it.
That's great thinking.
Yeah, but I'm so thankful that I had that motherism.
What are some other of her motherisms that really stood out to you?
When I got engaged, I was 19 years old when I got engaged. My mother said to me, I was very upset. I didn't even want her to see my ring because I knew what she was going to say. Well, she took it a little bit further, but I had a feeling what she was going to say. And the first thing she said was, "You're too young. I think you're too young." However, I know you, and you don't do anything that you haven't seriously given a lot of thought to. I don't knee-jerk react. It's not in my DNA. Anyway, and she said, "And we love Rick like a son already. But you need to make me a promise. And if you can't keep this promise, you give the ring back." I went, "Whoa, okay." She said, "Now, first of all, a marriage is not 50-50. It's 100-100. If you're going to contribute to a relationship, you each give 100%. Because if it's 50-50, you're not contributing. you're holding back first. Okay, so I got that one. The second was, do not spend your life planning too far in the future. Because if you do, you may be very disappointed when the future doesn't come. Okay, number two. Number three, you have no control over the past. You can help kind of develop your future, but the only thing you have control in right now is right now. This moment, that's the only thing you have control over. So as you're going down your path of marriage, you're going to tend to do this. You stop in the moment, you turn around and you take a look and you backtrack. That's 100% relationship. The third thing is, if you live the best you can today, in the moment, when the future comes, you're going to be pleasantly pleased.
Wow, you had a very, very encouraging, insightful mother.
Yeah. And you know what, Terry Ann? When my husband passed away, we were married 43 years. He was the love of my life. We had been together 46. And people said to me, man, you've done, you're really strong and you're very, what? A lot of it has to do with the fact that I lived the best I could in the moment. Who can honestly say they had 43 years of marriage? Most people can't. I was blessed to have him in my life 46 years. We lived the best we could, day to day. I have no regret. The only regret I have is that he's not here with me. Other than that, I have no regrets.
I think that's why I was just so drawn to you. I could see from the moment, and we haven't met in person, we've only met virtually, but in all of our virtual contacts, I have seen that strength that I think you're appropriately named Grace.
Thank you. And I was named after my aunt. Grace.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I definitely can see that. And I think that's why I'm so drawn to you, in seeing that confidence, the grace, the strength that you show, and how open you are. You don't give me that life is always perfect thing. There's problems, but that doesn't mean that the problems have to be the top concern. It's always your kindness and grace that is of utmost. And I admire that so much in you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now,
my mother would be proud to hear that, because I'm sure she really believed. And another thing that she brought us up with was, never, ever say that you can't do something. Do not come home and make the excuse of, oh, I'm a girl, or I'm not big enough, or I'm not strong enough, or I never make that excuse. The only reason you can't do something is because you've set your limitations.
Oh, I love that one.
Yep. And so and we knew not to come home and complain and use excuses. No entitlement. And the other thing she would always tell us was, this is another, my grandmother had motherisms too. My grandma was phenomenal. And I was told one time by a little girl in school that I was poor. And I said, what? And she said, well, yeah, you don't have a dad, so you're poor. And I went, And I was perplexed. I really was. It was like, what? Huh? So I came home and I said to my grandma, are we poor? And my grandmother got the biggest smile on her face. And she said, why are you asking that? And I said, well, I got told at school today that I was poor. My grandmother went, interesting. And she proceeded to ask me a whole battery of questions. Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have food to eat? Are you cold at night? Are you loved? Etc. I mean, just a whole battery of questions. And I said, yes. No, 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 no. She said, well, I don't know, Grace. Are you poor? And I looked at her and I said, thank you. I didn't think I was. And I went back to school the next day and I said to that little girl, you lied to me. And she said, no, I didn't. I said, yes, you did. You lied to me yesterday. And she said, no, I didn't. I said, yes, you called me poor. And she looked at me like funny and she said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, I'm not poor. And I said, and I don't appreciate you lying to me. I said, I think you might be poor because you don't have the right attitude. And I believe in my heart of hearts, that was when my strength started.
I love that story. Oh, wow.
Yep.
We all need that point where we say, you're lying to me.
Mm-hmm.
And don't accept it just because somebody else said it. That does not make it true. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you wanted to get some motherisms from other people. If someone wanted to send you a motherism, how would they get hold of you?
Well, actually, I'm going to use my email account because what I want to do is I don't just want to get motherisms. I really don't. What I want is I want to interview people. Because one thing that I believe so wholeheartedly is that when somebody tells you something or quotes something, that has come from their heart and you should give them credit for it. It's like, I will never give a quote without putting somebody's name behind it. I don't take credit where credit shouldn't be taken. So I believe in the book that I want to interview people. And I want to do like mini chapters of, Terry Ann, what are some of your motherisms that you, and give me the story behind them.
Great idea.
Because the motherisms mean a lot. But what means more is that visualization of what the motherism meant.
Those stories are so important, and you want to treasure those stories and memories.
Yeah.
So it's not just words; it's the words and the story behind it.
Yeah. Everybody can write words. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not good with writing. I mean, this is going to be very interesting to me. I've never been known to not being able to verbalize, but writing has not been a forte of mine. I mean, I don't journal well. I just don't. It's not me. So I am starting on writing down my mother's motherisms because I don't want to lose them. And so that's what I'll be doing, is interviewing people. And so I'm going to use my email, which is Grace Strachan 2014 at gmail.com. And I'm literally going to go from there. And what I've decided to do is, because I'm not good at writing, is I'm going to do Zooms. Or I'm going to record. Because then I have them. And a lot of the time, I actually, and maybe you could give me a little input, I actually thought of doing instead of writing it, doing more of an audible.
Yes, my mind is going. Oh, I can see so many different directions you could go with this, Grace.
I know. And that's what I want, is I want it to be a collaboration of women and men. I'm not gonna say not men, because there are a lot of men that have very good relationships and probably have some phenomenal motherisms. And I don't want to restrict it to only women. And I also want to include, because there's a lot of people out there that maybe were raised by their grandparents. So they've got grandmotherisms, but they're still motherisms. Maybe even some fatherisms.
Oh, wow. I can definitely.
I could go
Oh, this
from
is such a neat idea. I love this idea. And yes, the ping pong balls are going off in my head
Oh,
right
I'm
now.
so glad.
Oh, I can
Yeah.
see many different ways
Yeah.
that you can take this. And I know if anybody can do this, Grace, I know that you can.
Thank you. And my mother taught me from a very young age that to always say thank you and to always show gratitude. And my mother always taught us from a very young age to be very real. Yeah.
Oh, I have so enjoyed speaking with you today. I
Thank you.
cannot wait, my dear friend, to see this in progress and to see it come to a conclusion. And I want to thank all of you for joining me for another Tea Time with Terry Ann, my dear friend Grace Strachan, Motherisms. I'm so excited. Until next time, sit back, relax, breathe, enjoy some tea.